Hello, Sales Academy followers, listeners, watchers, lurkers, YouTubers, podcasters, the works. Today we're going to talk about a subject called, well, it's basically a post actually that I put up yesterday. So the subject is, I believe in you. So what I thought I'd do by starting is I'm going to read the post that I put up on Instagram yesterday and the words that I put in there, because it was prompted by some conversations and it was prompted by some feelings that were happening not just within my clients, but within me as well. And as any good coach knows, there is a kinship when you see people developing and growing, because we've all been on a path of challenge and adversity and overcoming that sort of stuff and asking for help and getting support and seeking all that sort of stuff. And I believe a massive driver underneath overcoming stuff is our why and understanding our why. And that comes from a very firm belief, a strong belief. And sometimes we just need one or two people to believe in us before we have the potential and the skills and the power to believe in us. We have the confidence and the assurity to believe in ourselves. So I put this post up, which was just an image of a torn piece of paper with it typed on saying, I believe in you. And I've shared this regularly over the years. And it always gets a response, interestingly. Some people just go, oh, thanks. And other people go, that stopped me in my tracks. That's something I need to think about and consider. So here's what I wrote with it. These are the words of the post that went up on Instagram. So it says, I believe in you. And then I said, not everyone will. In fact, for a lot of your life, you won't either. We all fall foul of self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, not valuing ourselves, failing to recognize our worth, and sometimes simply believing that what we hear from others. That all changes the moment you choose to develop your internal dialogue. The moment you begin to believe your worth and the moment you commit to investing into you, your life, your journey. To get there alone can be hard, but it is achievable. For those thinking, I think I need a coach, ask yourself this question. What is it inside of you that believes you cannot do it without a coach? Consider that first, and when you are ready for support, DM me. We don't do it for you. We can't. We listen, we question, and we challenge you to go past the point that you would normally stop. Now that's the content I put up with that image. I go back to very early days when I was a child, when I was a young adult, when I was young and immature in business and naive and all those other things too, as well as my career and stuff. I got into leadership very, very early. In my very early 20s, I got into a leadership role, an official leadership role, but I've been leading all my life. And I believe in you is not just a set of words. See, an Achilles heel for me, and I'm not going to speak for all coaches, but an Achilles heel for me as a coach is I inherently operate from trust. And I come from a school of thought that is, I believe in you more than you believe in yourself right now. Because you come to me with an idea or a suggestion or a challenge and stuff. And I absolutely believe you have the answers to overcome those challenges and overcome those situations and launch that idea and take this so-and-so somewhere. But I absolutely believe in you, and you do, but you're just having doubts. So right now, I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. So I would say 99% of the time, in terms of my leadership roles, in terms of taking people through processes and helping them develop and perform, I'd say 99% of the time that serves me well. 1% of the time it bites me on the backside, but I'm prepared for that 1%. I'm happy with that 1%. Maybe, hey, it's even 10%. But in the grand scheme of things, in the bigger picture, the majority of people are affected, are supported, and supported well. So in that 1% to that 10%, sometimes you do have to choose to move on from people, move on from things, and accept that it's just not going to work out. And it was an English teacher I had when I was at school, Mr. Hatton. Anyone that went to our school would know Mr. Hatton. He had round circular glasses, a bald head, very thin, tall, wispy figure, almost Roald Dahl-ish in his kind of appearance. But when he put those round glasses on, he also looked like an SS officer from the World War II films we saw at school. And I grew up within the kind of 80s and 70s and 80s and 90s. And he said to us very early on, he will not fail us. We will fail ourselves before he fails us. And that really stuck with me. as a teacher, he said that some of you will just mess about. Some of you won't be taking this seriously. Some of you aren't considering getting an education and don't care whether you get good grades or good. He said, but I do. So you will fail yourself before I fail you. And then I believe he went on to say something like, which you probably can't get away with in school these days. But I believe he went on to say something like, but if you make a fool out of me, I will make you piss yourself with fright. And I always remember that kind of boundary that he set, that he's got our backs more than we've got our own backs. But don't make a mug of him, because you'll live to regret it. So the boundary was firm, but fair. The boundary was set. He believed in me more than I believed in myself. And in the subjects of school, because I'm not an academic kid and I didn't like school, anyone knows my backstory will understand why. He was one of the teachers that I respected, one of the very few teachers that I respected. And actually, I loved his lessons, and I loved the subject of English, and I loved reading, and I loved immersing and losing myself in stories. And I still do to this day. So I hold a lot of respect and esteem for that guy, to the point that I even paid for some driving lessons for him, because anyone that knows him knew he didn't pass his test all the way through school. So at a wedding, I met him at a wedding a couple of years later and paid for some driving lessons for him so that he could get closer to passing his test. I love Mr. Hatton. And unknowingly, he helped me form that identity in me, in terms of, I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And I will not fail you. You will fail yourself before I fail you. But there are times when you just have to step away, because, as I have said many, many times, everyone is coachable. Not everyone's ready to be coached. And unfortunately, some people think that's just at the beginning. It's not. It's far from it. In fact, a lot of the times it's further into the coaching journey. So success can bring ego. Results can bring ego. Results can really accentuate somebody's level of self-importance and worth and everything else, which is great in some sense. But if you don't keep it in check and in balance, it really does come to bite you on the backside. So again, mantras that you hear as you grow up that kind of resonate with you. Somebody said to me in corporate, be kind on your way up, because the people remember you on your way down. And I remember thinking, what a twatty thing to say. But were they right? Be kind to the people on the way up, because they'll remember you on the way down. And I was at the top of my game in a contract in a private company. And I had a falling out with a director who targeted me specifically, together with two others, and they outed us from the business. And it was our baby. We'd grown that. So I was young enough and naive enough to not realize how they could do it legally. But it hurt. I went through the change curve. I went through the grieving process, not knowing it was a thing back then. How could I grieve about a job? Because it wasn't just a job. It was my livelihood. It was everything I was giving. It was the impact and the difference we were making. And I always got everything 100%. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. Why would I? But that means I make mistakes and everything else with it. So when this guy targeted me and I went into battle, I became a person that I don't like to be. And I became a person that wasn't necessarily performing at the best of my ability. I wasn't looking after the day job. I wasn't looking after the things that I was keen on and true for. And slowly those things started to slip out of my grasp. And the underperformance came in. The ball started to drop. And my undoing was in part, no, probably in majority, my own undoing. Because I focused on the wrong things. I put my energy into the wrong things. And when the castle came tumbling down, there were a couple of people that really stood out to me that I knew I'd supported really well through that process were there for me. A lot of them weren't. And I thought I'd been kind, but obviously hadn't to the level that they needed it. So there's ego right there, right? How do you put yourself beyond yourself without sacrificing yourself? So I believe in you more than you believe in yourself is more than just a mantra. It's more than just a set of words. It's more than just an Instagram post. Because I genuinely, truly believe that each and every one of us has exceptional talent. We either haven't discovered it yet or we're terrified of it in the main. So we need doors opened. We need touch papers lit. We need a rocket sometimes lit under our asses. You know, we need that support, that sounding board, that external person to bounce ideas off that's not as unemotionally attached, but also not afraid to challenge. We're in a such an entitled and easily offended state of play these days that we're scared to say who to what, what to who to what, boo to them. Boo. So the censorship is coming and being driven by ourselves, not frigging government. They're just sitting back watching ourselves tear ourselves apart. It's humorous. It's probably 1984's Orwell's all coming into play, But you have the talent within you. You have the ability within you. And I love nothing more than giving my time, my experience, my knowledge, my collective experiences to just dabble around in that with you, to just explore that with you, to help you encourage yourself to explore the full potential of yourself. Because that's magic, that's wizardry, that's alchemy. Fucking magicians, that's wizard stuff. When you find your power, when you step into your power, when you find your voice, when you truly step into who you're meant to be and what you're here to do, and your passion aligned with your income and your livelihood, and you're making a difference, and you're esoteric and you're not, your material, everything comes together. It's absolute alchemy. And every one of us has the power and the ability to have that. Just got to figure out what that looks like for us. And then we have to have the belief that we can have it. We have to have the belief that we deserve it. We have to have the belief in our own self-worth and our experience. So many people I work with and I coach, doctors, highly academic professionals, very senior in business, and some now almost right back at the beginning of the process because they're starting out on a new adventure. Some people never ever reach the echelons of leadership and stuff and high performance roles, etc., or high demanded leadership roles, whatever. But whatever their differences, whatever their backgrounds, whatever their experiences, a lot of their fears, a lot of their doubts, a lot of their questions about themselves are the same. Can I do this? Do I deserve it? Am I worthy? Who am I to give advice? Who am I to support? Why would anyone listen to me? Etc., etc., etc. Self-destroying, self-sabotaging voices that happen within each and every one of us. And some of us just brush them under the carpet and hope they go away, and they don't. They just come back louder and louder and louder. So we have to tackle them. We have to find a way to challenge them, to listen to them, to take notes, to do something about them. And I've shared with you before previous exercises on how to do that. So if you want to learn, go and listen to the other podcasts. But just know that there are people out there, some of which you absolutely know and some of you don't. Some of you haven't really recognized that there are people out there that truly believe in you. They love and care for you and they want you to succeed. And they are your champions, sometimes hidden, but they are your champions, your cheerleaders. Tap into that resource, utilize it, ask for help. Be the bold, brave, courageous person that accepts you don't know it all. You're not perfect. You never will, and you never will be. You will never know it all, and you will never be perfect. In China, they have a thing. I wrote a blog about it years ago. I think it's still on the website, called "We Are All Cracked Pots." In China, they have a process. So if a porcelain bowl or a china bowl gets broken, they don't throw it away because it's damaged. They repair it and gild it with gold. So the crack becomes even more precious. The pot becomes even more precious because now it's got a history. Now it's got a story attached to it. Now it's been looked after and loved. So the cracks get filled with gold to make it even more precious. And I think that's a beautiful metaphor to finish on in a throwaway culture that we are today. I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And if you want that help in believing in you, come and talk to me. Not everything we do comes with an invoice. I don't just say it, I mean it. A simple conversation can be enough to trigger the thoughts, the energy, the fuel can be enough to give you that velocity to get into orbit. And hey, if there's more needed, then we're here as well. So talk soon. I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. That's today's musings for you. Take care. Speak soon.